Hi, it's Jarelle Africa, and I am reporting live from the Afro Latino Festival in Brooklyn for none other than MinaTV. So yeah, guys, we're just out here. We're celebrating the heritage and culture of the Afro Latino community here in New York City. So follow me in, guys. We're gonna go check it out. Hi, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
I'm doing great. What are we doing here today?
Well, we're here celebrating, Afro Latino culture. Personally, I'm here moving juice.
Okay, tell us a little bit more about your juice.
The name of my company is Drink Fresh Juice. I have hydraulic cold pressed juice, no water, no sugar, no dairy. It's made in Brooklyn. It's 100% organic, non-GMO, kosher, and in my opinion, probably one of the best products on the market as it relates to bioavailability of nutrition.
Do you feel like there is a strain between the African community and the Latino community?
The African community and the Latino community, probably, but I would say if there is a strain, it's more a function of what's being presented to us. So I think it's a socialized strain, not necessarily a natural strain, because culturally speaking,
Amazing.
Right? Culturally speaking, from the way that we live, a lot of our customs and traditions are rooted in Pan-African kind of ways of life or living.
And what does it mean to you to be Afro-Latino?
I feel like that's just my culture, my identity. This is who I am.
Do you feel like there are some disparities between the African community and the Latino community currently?
I believe there's definitely like separation between the two communities, but lately I feel like we're coming together, we're reclaiming our culture and our identity.
Soy afro, mi gente. Soy afro, afrodescendiente. Soy afro, mi gente. Soy afro, afrodescendiente. Soy afro, afrodescendiente.
Do you find yourself to be an Afro-Latino?
In part, yes.
Okay. And do you think that there's a disparity between the African community and the Latino community?
Yeah, they get confused. Then it's all one and the same. It's all, a lot of our Latin things came from Africa, salsa, and all of our music and our dancing is based on that. It's just not discussed enough. It's not talked about in certain countries in Latin America because
Do you think that there has been some strife between the African community and the Latino community?
Meaning as,
Like, do we get along?
yeah, we get along.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing. We go through the same thing, the stereotypes, the everything. We just go through the same things in life.
Do you consider yourself Afro-Latino?
More Afro.
More Afro?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that there's some disparities between the African community and the Latino community?
Some disparities.
Yeah.
Like,
Are we getting along? How do you feel about the relationship?
I feel like we're kind of divided in some ways, as in, like, we're not as fully integrated as I feel most minorities should be. Like, we should stick up for each other, kind of give ourselves that solidarity and be more of a community than we actually are. And I feel some of that is coming from the background of, like, we feel like we have different struggles, but everybody struggles in different ways, and that should be something that everybody should lean on in other people.
I feel that it is a community that's coming together to build support for each other. I do feel more comfortable around people who are of color. So I feel like together we support and build off of each other's energy to help build the rise for representation of people of color.
Preach, girl. Yes. Oh, God.
As a Afro-Latina, I think what we're doing here is extremely important because for a very long time, a lot of us are in the dark. We don't know who we are. We've been like just fumbling in this dark room, and now that we're able to shed light that we do exist, that we are not invisible, that we've been here forever, is an extremely important thing to do, especially for people who are growing up, people who are ignorant about their history and who they are. It's good that we're able to create a community to be able to show that.
I think they're merging now more than before, in the sense of having the conversation to include more people from the diaspora, rather than just think that, that African descent or Afro Latinidad is like just a myth or a concept. It's bringing in the conversation and letting people know, hey, I'm also an Afro descendant, and we're here, and we should all just find a way to merge all the gaps.
I think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but I also think that there's a good group of us that are doing the work to make the connections a lot better, reach across the lines, and make the diaspora stronger.
Wow, that's a big question.
We want big answers too.
Yes, well, at this point, I myself, I'm trying to combine it in my artwork. I try to bring it together. I try to look for my own roots and try to, just incorporate it in everything I do.
Well, I feel like it could be stronger. I'm African, and I connect so much to the Afro Latinas. We all look the same. We have the same hair, the same food, the same music. Even though it's not the exact same, like it all comes from the same place. And I just feel like that relationship has so much room to get stronger.
Where in Africa are you from?
Liberia.
Oh, hey, girl. I'm from South Africa.
Yes.
Actually, I think it's important that those two communities merge and expand their relationship, because we're all the same people. It's like there is no difference between Afro Latinas and African Americans. Like there's no difference. Like it's Afro whatever.
Basically, I'm an immigrant, so I just got here today from Panama.
Welcome.
I'm performing in the festival.
Okay.
So I am all about love between the Africans and the Latinos, because I am a Latino, and we all have African heritage. So we have to work together. I don't see a difference between African and Latino. So in terms of the relationship, I think, aren't we all part of that relationship? Aren't we a product of that relationship?
We are one human race, baby.
Exactly. I mean, you and me, him in the camera. So how do I feel about it? I mean, we are it. We are it. We have to feel good about it. Otherwise, what are we doing here?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of blonde lines or blurred lines, because not everybody who's Hispanic can identify as Afro or Afro descendant, and that's how it is for us for Boricuas. But we need to come together, because at the end of the day, we're in the same hole, we're fighting the same fight, and we need to represent, because I love reggae, and I appreciate my reggaeton Spanish, because of reggae, my love for reggae.
So you do feel that within the Latino community there's been more acceptance of the African heritage?
I believe that people with African heritage have been celebrating it more, and we have been accepting it more. I feel like in the past it's been a struggle, but it's definitely something that's celebrated.
So do you think that Africanness is now being accepted by the Latino community?
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, obviously more and more, because we have this, right? This great thing. But I really hope that it becomes something that people stop separating us much. And people, I mean, it's an ignorance, but, when people, it's not their fault. It's kind of like we've been taught a certain system. We just got to fix it up. So I hope that it gets fixed up.
Do you feel that Africanness has now been embraced by the Latino community?
It always has. In my family, it always has.
That's amazing. Tell us a little bit more about your family.
We're Afro Latinos. We're from Loíza, Puerto Rico. We live in Philly now. We have family in Sabana Seca, Puerto Rico. Family here in New York. It's all the same.
I feel like, yeah, in some ways, like more events like this kind of bring it out more to light, but also it gives people from African descent a reason to also appreciate Latino culture. Like for me, I grew up in Texas, and so I was always kind of predominantly in the Latino culture instead of like my own African culture. So it gives us just not an excuse, but it gives us more of an opportunity to just appreciate and see and open our eyes to more different cultures.
Unifying us as one human race, right?
Yes.
So you feel like Africanness has now been accepted in the Latino community?
I feel through the younger generations, it's being accepted, and we're educating our older generations on how to accept everyone. Because I know that in a lot of Latin countries, being darker is still not fully accepted, but the younger generations are accepting it.
I think that because we're starting to talk about it, people are opening their eyes to it, and people are able to see that, oh, those people do exist, my family does exist, and this is my history, and this is where we've always been. So I think that this is creating something positive, and people are now starting to welcome people, but we still have, we're, as always, every time there's a push, there's always resistance.
We shall persevere, girl. So you feel like Africanness is being accepted within the Latino community? Talk on it. Wait, what's going on? Tell us.
Well, I feel like, here I go. So I feel like a lot of people that are physically and emotionally and spiritually African descent, and you can see them that they're African descent, are accepting it more now because you have more people talking about it, and they're like, oh, I can relate to this. But you still have some, some fuck shit. Can I curse? I'm sorry. Some fuck shit happening in like the Latino community where, what it always happens, where they use black women, they use queer people of color that are mostly black in the Latino community, and then they don't give them the props. They don't like show them off as they should. They just take, and then they want to say, oh, Latino. But they don't realize that they're like putting down the people that actually created these things, right? And then like, I'm like, it's round my face. I'm like, I'm so sorry, man.
I'm just trying to, you spitting facts right now, so I'm just trying to make sure we hear you. You feel like Africanness is now being accepted within the Latino community?
Not as much as it should, but I think it's getting there. Yeah, I think the work is being done.
What do you think we need to do to move forward?
I think we need to be honest with ourselves and also have, deep, uncomfortable conversations with our friends, our relatives, the abuelos and the abuelas and the tias and the tios that like say the covert racist things. Have honest conversations with them about why that's wrong.
So you feel like Africanness is now being accepted within the Latino community?
I think it should have never been apart.
Amazing. Absolutely. I agree, girl.
It's not something separate. It's something that should always be apart. There's not. When people say, oh, there's a difference, I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I don't even understand that.
Latinidad, but you have only black people, but you're taking from black people in the sense of you're taking their music and not giving them credit. You don't, you want to call yourself black when it's convenient. And it's not like that. Like, there's a difference between nationality, race, and ethnicity. And I think
absolutely
that's a conversation that needs to be to be in all spaces that are Latino. Because I'm really tired of blackness being convenient.
I feel like I'm seeing, and I'm like I said, I'm not Afro Latino. My daughters are, but I feel like I've been seeing a lot more of it. I don't believe it's just starting, but I'm seeing a lot more of it, and that's probably due to social media, the internet, it allows images to be dispersed across the world.
Do you feel like the Latino community is starting to embrace their African heritage?
I believe so, and I think the better. I mean, the only way to move forward is to know who you are and where you come from. You know, that's the only way to really to understand, you know, where you come from and to understand where you want to go. So as a Latino, you better really embrace it. If you want to move forward, you will embrace who you are, not deny it. You know, so that's a little bit of what I think. You know.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Oh my God, guys, that was amazing. We were reporting live from MinaTV at the Afro Latino Festival here in Brooklyn, New York. Guys, you know what to do. Press that subscribe button, press the like button, press the notification button, and I'll see you next time. It was Jarelle, over and out.